Deep in the dark waters, could there be an empire that vanished thousands of years ago? A civilization that reached the peak of its power, captivated the world with its wealth, yet sealed its own fate through arrogance and ambition? One of history's greatest mysteries where legends and reality intersect. Atlantis. It is said that thousands of years ago, an advanced civilization was swallowed by the depths of the sea. But did this empire, equipped with powerful armies, advanced technologies, and magnificent cities, actually exist? Or was it merely a product of Plato's imaginative storytelling? The lost civilization described in Plato's writings remains one of the greatest enigmas in human history. For centuries, scientists and historians have searched for traces of Atlantis, scouring the ocean depths for the remnants of a lost city. So, did Atlantis really exist? If so, where was it? And why? How did it disappear? In this video, we will explore the origins, grandeur, and downfall of Atlantis, based on Plato's accounts. Through evidence, theories, and myths, we will attempt to unravel the mystery of the lost continent. If you're ready to embark on a journey into one of history's greatest secrets, let's begin. By the way, if you enjoy this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. Your support means a lot to me. Welcome to my channel, Discovery of the Mystery, where we will uncover the secrets. As I mentioned earlier, Atlantis is one of the greatest mysteries in history. The traces of the Atlantis civilization first emerged 2,400 years ago in the accounts of Plato. This great Greek philosopher, who lived between 427 and 347 BCE, did not describe Atlantis as an ordinary civilization, but as a mighty power and an advanced society. However, Plato's narrative is not just the story of a great empire. The tale of Atlantis also encompasses philosophical themes such as the ideal social order, power, moral decline, and justice. Plato mentions Atlantis in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. However, this account is not merely a product of his own imagination. The story was passed down through a chain of sources that traces back to the Athenian statesman Solon. Solon claimed that he had learned about Atlantis from Egyptian priests and described it as a secret passed down through generations. Plato, in turn, recorded this narrative as he had heard it from his grandfather. Plato's account of Atlantis. Plato's descriptions of Atlantis were not just about a legend. They also contained extraordinary details of a lost civilization. He depicted Atlantis not merely as an ordinary island, but as a great empire with immense wealth, a flawless structure, and a strategic defense system. This lost continent was a mountainous region rising in the middle of the sea. However, these lands were not only composed of towering peaks, but also fertile plains, lush forests, and abundant resources. Atlantis was a legendary city shaped under the protection of Poseidon, boasting unique architecture. The location and power of Atlantis. According to Plato, Atlantis was a civilization that existed 9,000 years before ancient Athens. It was located beyond the Strait of Gibraltar, a place the Greeks referred to as the Pillars of Hercules. With its vast and fertile lands, advanced culture, and powerful political structure, Atlantis was one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. The territories of Atlantis were not only expansive, but also rich in all the resources nature could offer. Its forests, fertile agricultural lands, diverse animal species, and valuable minerals made it a self-sufficient superpower. Among these riches, the most remarkable was a metal Plato called orichalcum, which he claimed was as valuable as gold. Orichalcum was of great importance to the people of Atlantis and was widely used in both architecture and decoration. The unique geography of Atlantis and Poseidon's kingdom. According to Plato's depiction, Atlantis was built in perfect harmony. Amid massive mountains lay a vast flat plain spanning approximately 500 square kilometers. At the very center of this plain, about 50 stadia, roughly 9 kilometers, from the sea stood a small mountain. This was the sacred site where the first queen of Atlantis, Cleito, lived. As Plato described, Poseidon fell in love with this mortal woman and, to protect her, created 3 great rings of water around the mountain. These rings became one of the most distinctive defense systems of Atlantis. Poseidon had 10 children with Cleito, and Atlantis was divided among them to be ruled as separate kingdoms. The eldest of these princes was Atlas, and in his honor, both the island and the surrounding ocean were named Atlantis. This system of governance transformed Atlantis into not just a city, but a vast empire spanning an entire continent. The economic power and natural wealth of Atlantis led to the construction of magnificent structures across the land in a short period. At the heart of the capital, a colossal golden statue of Poseidon stood tall. In this statue, Poseidon was depicted riding a chariot drawn by 6 winged horses. This was not only a symbol of divine power, but also the greatest testament to the wealth and grandeur of Atlantis, the capital of Atlantis, a marvel of perfect engineering. According to Plato's account, Atlantis was a masterpiece of engineering. The city was meticulously designed with concentric rings, 3 rings of water and 2 rings of land, each encircled by massive walls and connected by bridges. The water rings were specifically designed to allow ships to navigate with ease. A long canal connected the city's acropolis to the sea, cutting through all the rings of water and land. This was not only an aesthetic wonder, but also an extraordinary defense system. The city was carefully structured, with commercial centers facilitating economic activity, temples and administrative buildings, managing religious and governmental affairs, and residential areas where the people lived and socialized. Additionally, naval bases and warships reinforced the city's military strength. The people of Atlantis were deeply devoted to Poseidon, the god of the sea, and in his honor, they built a grand temple, one of the most magnificent structures in the city. Inside the temple stood a colossal golden statue of Poseidon, depicting him riding a war chariot pulled by horses. This statue was not just a religious symbol, but also a testament to the splendor and power of Atlantis. Maritime activity in Atlantis was highly organized and efficient. However, this was not a chaotic system. All ships entering and leaving the city's harbors were monitored from strategically placed towers and gates. This sophisticated security system made Atlantis nearly impervious to external threats. Even the construction materials used in Atlantis showcased its magnificence. The city's walls were built using white, red, and black stones, and these stones were further coated with bronze, tin, and the legendary orichalcum metal. This not only gave the city a breathtaking appearance, but also enhanced the durability of its structures. Plato's depiction of Atlantis' capital presents it as a flawless blend of engineering and artistic aesthetics, the advanced technology of Atlantis. In Timaeus and Critias, Plato clearly describes Atlantis as a highly advanced civilization with remarkable technological achievements. Based on his accounts, the Atlanteans skillfully managed their natural resources and had reached an extraordinary level of engineering expertise. Atlantis was a society that harmonized with nature, utilizing science and technology to its fullest potential. What set them apart from other ancient civilizations was their advancements in water management, mining, metallurgy, agriculture, and military engineering. Masters of water, the hydraulic systems of Atlantis. One of the most remarkable engineering achievements of Atlantis was its advanced water management systems. The island was surrounded by concentric rings of water and land, indicating that the Atlanteans possessed high-level hydraulic technology. Atlantis featured an intricate network of interconnected aqueducts and canals. These waterways were not only used for transporting people and goods, but also played a crucial role in irrigating and maintaining agricultural lands. By controlling the flow of water, the Atlanteans prevented floods and increased agricultural productivity. This sophisticated water management system not only ensured the sustainability of their civilization, but also strengthened trade routes and facilitated urban transportation. Orichalcum, the legendary metal of Atlantis. Plato's writings emphasize that Atlantis was highly advanced in mining and metallurgy. One of the strongest pieces of evidence supporting this claim is orichalcum, a legendary metal described in Critias. According to Plato, orichalcum was considered even more valuable than gold. The Atlanteans mined this rare metal from various parts of the island and used it to decorate temples, palaces, and other grand structures. Although the exact nature of orichalcum remains unknown, some researchers speculate that it may have been a special copper alloy or an undiscovered ancient metal. Beyond orichalcum, the Atlanteans also worked with bronze, tin, and other metals, crafting advanced armor, weapons, and ornamental objects. Agricultural revolution, the fertile lands and advanced farming techniques of Atlantis. According to Plato, Atlantis had some of the most fertile lands in the world, indicating that the Atlanteans had made significant advancements in agricultural technology. To maximize their resources, the Atlanteans developed irrigation systems that supplied water to vast farmlands through canals and aqueducts. These advanced soil cultivation techniques allowed them to harvest abundant crops year-round. In Atlantis, agriculture was not just a means of survival, but also a key factor in economic power. Their agricultural success supported population growth and contributed to the expansion of their empire. The military defense systems of Atlantis, strategic perfection. Atlantis was not only a prosperous civilization, but also a formidable military power. Its defensive structure was built upon interlocking rings of land and water. While the water rings acted as natural barriers, the land rings were reinforced with towers and security checkpoints. The harbors of Atlantis were heavily guarded, with every ship entering or leaving monitored from strategically positioned towers and gates. This system made Atlantis nearly impenetrable to external threats. No vessel could approach its ports without authorization. Although Plato does not explicitly mention it, some researchers speculate that the Atlanteans may have possessed sophisticated weaponry and military engineering marvels. Atlantis and advanced energy technologies. Some modern theories suggest that Atlantis may have possessed technology far beyond its time, even by today's standards. Could the Atlanteans have used advanced energy production techniques? Some researchers propose that the Atlanteans might have harnessed energy through crystals, theorizing that their cities were powered and illuminated by an unknown energy source. However, there is no archaeological evidence to support these speculative claims. Still, the legend of Atlantis has fueled the idea that an advanced civilization may have existed in ancient times. The people of Atlantis, from virtue to corruption and collapse. The Atlanteans were no ordinary people. Descended from Poseidon and the mortal woman Cleito, they initially lived in justice and virtue. However, over time, this balance began to shift. In the beginning, they remained loyal to their laws and gods, living in harmony. But as they accumulated immense wealth and power, their pride and arrogance transformed them. According to Plato, this once great civilization gradually lost its moral values. Atlantis, which was originally governed with virtue and justice, became corrupted by its desire for conquest, thirst for power, and overwhelming arrogance. Its rulers were no longer satisfied with their superiority. They embarked on an aggressive expansionist policy to seize more land. A civilization that had once been a beacon of justice and order had now turned into an empire obsessed with power and conquest. Atlantis was not a centralized empire, but rather a confederation of autonomous kingdoms. In the beginning, this system allowed rulers to act independently, while still maintaining unity under common laws. However, over time, the belief in the divine origins of their rulers weakened, and the people ceased to see them as sacred. This undermined authority, allowing rulers to act in their own self-interest without moral restraint. Atlantis' expansionist conquests spread as far as Libya, Egypt, and Italy. However, when they attempted to invade Athens, they faced an unexpected defeat. According to Plato, Athens triumphed over Atlantis because of its superior moral values, marking a turning point for the gods. The gods decided to punish Atlantis for its arrogance and greed. According to Critias, a great catastrophe struck the island. Massive earthquakes, colossal waves, and terrifying storms submerged Atlantis in a single night. The fall of Atlantis was not just a physical destruction, but also a lesson to humanity. No matter how powerful a civilization is, if it loses its moral foundation, its downfall is inevitable. Some historians believe that this story may be based on a real natural disaster. Around 1600 BCE, the eruption of the Santorini volcano triggered a massive tsunami that devastated the Minoan civilization. Some researchers suggest that the Atlantis legend may have been inspired by this event. However, no definitive archaeological evidence has been found to confirm this theory. Today, the question of whether Atlantis truly existed remains one of the greatest mysteries. Some believe it was merely Plato's metaphor, while others continue to search for traces of a lost civilization beneath the ocean. Perhaps the secret of Atlantis lies hidden in the depths of the sea, waiting to be discovered, a shadow of the past concealed beneath the waves. Where is Atlantis? 5 prominent theories. The true location of Atlantis has fascinated researchers, historians, and explorers for centuries, leading to countless theories. Although Plato stated that Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which refers to the Strait of Gibraltar, this vague description has left room for multiple interpretations. While some scholars dismiss Atlantis as a myth, others believe it was a real place and have tried to identify its location. Here are 5 major theories regarding the possible location of Atlantis. 1. Akrotiri and the Santorini eruption. Some archaeologists suggest that the story of Atlantis may be linked to the ancient settlement of Akrotiri on Santorini Island. In the 1960s, Greek archaeologist Spiridon Marinatos excavated the site and discovered that it belonged to the Minoan civilization. Around 1640 to 1630 BCE, a massive volcanic eruption devastated the island and triggered a giant tsunami, which may have led to the collapse of the Minoan civilization on Crete. One intriguing aspect of this theory is that no human remains have been found at Akrotiri, suggesting that its inhabitants may have fled before the disaster. According to this theory, Plato's account of Atlantis' destruction may have been inspired by the Santorini eruption. 2. The Mahuan Bank Espartel hypothesis. Another theory suggests that Atlantis was an island in the Atlantic Ocean, near the Strait of Gibraltar, now submerged beneath the sea. French geologist Jacques Collina-Girard proposed that 12,000 years ago, an island known as the Mahuan Bank existed in this region, but was flooded as sea levels rose at the end of the Ice Age. And around 9,400 BCE, an earthquake and tsunami may have completely submerged the island. Collina-Girard believes that this catastrophe was remembered by the ancient Egyptians and later became the foundation for the Atlantis myth. 3. The Azores hypothesis. Some researchers believe that Atlantis was located in the Azores, a Portuguese archipelago in the Atlantic Ocean. In 1882, American writer Ignatius L. Donnelly published a book proposing that the Azores were the remnants of Atlantis's mountain peaks. French geologist Pierre-Marie Termier later supported this idea. However, modern scientists argue that the Azores are of volcanic origin and were never part of a large submerged landmass. This makes the Azores hypothesis scientifically implausible. 4. The Canary Islands, Madeira, and Cape Verde. Another theory places Atlantis in the Canary Islands, Madeira, and Cape Verde. In the 18th century, Jean-Baptiste Bory de Saint-Vincent, and in the 19th century, Louis Spence supported this idea. However, geological studies have shown that these islands have never been entirely submerged. In fact, they have been steadily rising rather than sinking. This makes it unlikely that Atlantis was located in this region. 5. The Yonaguni structures, Japan. A more unconventional theory suggests that Atlantis was linked to the underwater structures near Yonaguni Island, Japan. Discovered in 1985, these massive stone formations resemble staircases, platforms, and walls, leading some to believe that they were constructed by an ancient civilization. Some researchers have referred to this site as the Japanese Atlantis. However, most scientists argue that these formations are natural geological structures shaped by millions of years of erosion. 6. Other hypotheses and alternative locations. Several other theories have been proposed regarding the possible location of Atlantis. Some researchers suggest that the Eye of the Sahara, Richat structure in Mauritania, the Bimini Road in the Bahamas, and Tartessos in Spain might be linked to Atlantis. However, no conclusive evidence of a lost ancient civilization has been found in these regions. Other speculative locations include the North Sea, the Irish Sea, Israel, the Sinai Peninsula, and even the high plateaus of Bolivia. Yet none of these areas have produced archaeological findings that would substantiate the claims of an Atlantean connection. It seems that the mystery of Atlantis will remain unsolved for some time. Throughout history, countless civilizations have risen and fallen. But Atlantis continues to exist, not just as a civilization, but as a legend. We may never know if Atlantis truly existed. Perhaps it was a real place, lost beneath the waves, or maybe it is just a philosophical allegory passed down from Plato, meant to serve as a warning about human nature. But one thing is certain: power and glory are never permanent. Even the most advanced civilizations can fall victim to arrogance and greed, just as Atlantis was doomed to disappear into history's depths. What about today? Are we making the same mistakes? If Atlantis was meant to be a lesson, have we already failed to learn from it? Perhaps the real question is not whether we can find Atlantis, but rather what we have learned from it. What do you think about Atlantis? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay updated. You can support my channel by liking the video and leaving a comment. See you in the next one.